So now that you know what three materials we need to work with, it's important to understand that every vehicle has usually the same parts. It has the body, which you'll see on this menu here. You'll have those three bodies, right? Then you'll usually have, if it's a tank type of vehicle, you have a turret, but you'll always have wheels and then some other parts, right? So with each, vehicle part, there's usually an associated object file and materials that go with it. So what I'm trying to get to you is that you'll have to remember that each vehicle object will have a MCR, a mask map, and then a VFX map, usually. Sometimes maybe the global won't be there, and it'll just be the mask and the VFX. Or maybe there won't be a VFX. Or, but usually those three will be the ones you want to work with. For the BRDM2 that we're working on, we're going to be working on the body first. So we're going to grab the MCR and we're going to pull that over to Photoshop. Now, I already have Photoshop loaded here, and I created a long time ago what I call the template base. Now, I know that normally for Arma related textures, the texture size, the image size of it is usually 2048 by 2048 pixels. So I created a image that is that size. Right? So we make that canvas size. On my side here, I'll minimize all this stuff here. If I can double click on it, right? So usually I'll have my little copyright thing, but optional. Don't really need to. We're going to have a design folder where we'll make our actual designs. And then a originals folder, which is where I'm going to put all the original files that we pull from. And then I made a folder called selectors, which is once we make this texture, I'll go through and pre-select areas that I know are certain areas on the vehicle. So if I see the hood, I'm going to pre-select the hood, and I'm going to make this coloring book in a way. It's going to have a few different colors to show each side. We'll put that there. And then my mapper, which just has a mapping tool that I'll put on the chat. It's just the way that I can go through and look for a vehicle. So I can put this whole texture on a vehicle, look at the vehicle and be like, oh, okay, this part is right here. This part is right there. And it helps me out. I'm sure a lot of designers have their own versions of it. This is mine. I actually got to update this one. Make it a little bit more HD. But regardless, it works for what I'm doing now. So we have that. In a design folder, I have a few more folders in here. A few more layers in my folder. We have a base, which is just a white color. And then I have this pre-made camo. There. An empty layer. This is where I'm going to put all the global mask stuff. This is where I'm going to put all the VHF stuff. And the originals will just have all the stuff in there and then the mappers. So we'll get that going. But first, so I got this up, right? I have my Photoshop template ready to start what I call rip and stitch. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go to the workbench again. And we're going to first work on the MCR map. It's like the main texture one. So we're going to click that open. I like to make it big. We're going to make it big here. Now on the side we can see here, let's see the file size, doesn't matter. We're looking at the width and the height. So it is 2048 by 2048 as we mentioned before. So I know that this image will be a 100% if you want to get an exact copy. Now, this is important. Of course, it's going to require more work on the second option. But the first option, we do that 100%. We grab it. It'll be a good copy, right? Now, some people can go, if they want to get like a perfect copy, they can go 200%. And then they would have to make a file on Photoshop that's, 2048 times by 2 is 4096 by 4096. If I'm not mistaken, quick math, and I'm high, of course. So regardless, you'll have to make a file that's 2 times the size, right? Or at least just a Photoshop file ready. Just make one that big, and we're going to go through And yep, you're gonna see we're gonna copy it and we're gonna put it right in Photoshop, line them all up, stitch them together. If it's, of course, if it's a 1-for-1, meaning 100% to 100%, we don't have to do anything after. But if it's a double, you want to take that image and you put it in Photoshop, and then Control T or transform, which I'll show you. Maybe this is a long process, remember. But you can Control T, and then you want to go in Photoshop. You can select to the nearest neighbor. That way, you get an exact pixel copy. You don't want to make it where it's blurred or make it so it's sharper, but use exact the nearest. I forgot the name, but the nearest pixels. When you do that and you shrink it down, you'll have a very crisp and perfect ripped texture, basically. And I'll show you this process here, but we'll do for 1-for-1. In another video, maybe I'll do and I'll show you here. I'm gonna put it at the bottom right here. It says 32. It starts off at. We're going to do 100. And we're going to right click to move it. If you left click, it won't do anything. But you can see this is a 1-for-1. So this is a 100% quality texture there, meaning it's the actual size. But I can do 200. And then I can start ripping it and taking it from here and then shrink it down to get that even better quality. Now, I've tested both. I've done a 1-for-1 and then I've done a 2-to-1, meaning. And the 2-to-1 definitely looked better. But this is, like I said, you're going to have to do a lot more ripping and stitching than just doing a 1-for-1. We'll do a 1-for-1 for right now. So what I'm going to do, also too, normally, a texture on Arma Reforger will have just the RGB. My mouse is up here. But it'll just have this. If you click red, green, and blue, normally they wouldn't change. Even the white would normally just be white. But for this model, and I'm thinking because it's a newer version, it does have all the channels in here. Now, with that being said, this does put more work into the rip and stitch project because you'll have to grab all the red, the green, the blue, and the white. Or, if you want to save some time, you can just grab the RGB. Grab this. But this is colored too. So you would have to maybe change it, convert it to a grayscale later if you just want to get the white. But I like to do it for real. You know what I mean? I like to do it the real way. And I want to grab everything. Now, caveat for this texture, though, I am only going to grab 2 things. Normally, like I said, you grab 1. You know what I mean? You grab the RGB. In this case, I would grab all 4. The red, the green, and the blue, and the white. But for this video, I'm only going to grab the blue because the blue looks to be a little bit more darker, which means it provides more shadows. And then I'm going to also grab the white. This one should provide even more, but we'll see. But for now, let's go ahead and start it. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this, I'm going to actually get the blue. And I'm going to go here, I'm going to put it right near the edge, but not so much. I don't want to make it so it's hard to rip it. And right here, as you can see, we got our snipping tool. We're going to click that. And we're going to click new. Sometimes your snipping tool will automatically save to your, what is it? I think your photos folder. But you don't really need to save it. You're just going to copy it. So I got it there. It should be copied. If you're not, you can just copy. And I'm going to go to Photoshop. And I'm going to select the originals here. And we're going to zoom in all the way. Just keep zooming, but not too far. I think, what am I at? I'm at 300 right now. 500, 600. We're going to get in close because I'm going to paste it. And you can see those white lines. You know how I told you not to go too close? We want those little guides. And we're just going to move that over here. And I'm going to zoom out to make sure that I have the right size. Looks like we're starting off well. Alright, so I'm going to remember where we kind of left off here, this little part here. I'm going to go back. And I'm going to bring this down. Probably right there. We want something to overlay so that we know we got it right. And then we're going to do another snip. And we're going to find the edge as best as we can near the bottom. We're going to go all the way up, almost to the edge here. We don't want to go and grab any of that dark gray. All right, now I'm gonna go back to Photoshop, and this is a rip and stitch, guys. Pretty sure it's the only way. I wish there was a way you can right click, save, export, but no. So I'm gonna move this over to the edge, and then we're gonna bring it down. Now this one's gonna overlap, as you can see. It's gonna overlap here. And what we'll do is we'll just make the opacity down maybe to 75, 50%. And then we're gonna press V and move it down a bit more. Right there. Yeah, perfect. So now we have that, and we can make the opacity back to 100%. And we can zoom out a bit, and we can see what we're doing with. We only have the edges to work with, which is easy. So we're gonna go back, and we're gonna go, we don't really have to worry about the top, we just wanna get it kind of near the corner up there. Grab our snipping tool, and we're gonna snip it again. We don't have to go too far. I'm gonna go, I'm guessing here, I think right there. If we go a little bit over, it's fine, we can just overlap. But we just don't want to go under, because then you have to redo it again. All right, we got everything there. Perfect. So we're just going to paste that, and we're going to drag it all the way up here. We just want to get the corners there. This should fit. We shouldn't have to test it. You can if you want. You can. Yeah, it looks good. Or you can, of course, go to opacity, and we're fine. But usually when you match it up in the corners, they'll always be perfect. So we're almost there. We got that, and we just got to get the edges here. Let me zoom in, get it ready. Go here, hold that right click, bring it up to the top. We're going to get the corner, I think. We're going to stop. Where are we going to stop in? We're stopping right there. We're stopping like right there. Okay, cool. We're gonna grab that. I'm gonna go a little bit over. I know it was kind of like that second one there, but we'll just go down almost to the bottom. Go to Photoshop. Paste that baby in there. There we go. Now we're gonna move down a little bit. Remember that we're gonna hold right click on this. We're gonna use a reference point. So we're gonna hold it where it is almost at the bottom, and then bring it up. And then right about there. Get your snipping tool. Gonna snip. Snip, rip, and stitch. That should be the name of it. And we're gonna bring it out. I don't know. I'm gonna bring it right there. I think it's right there. Usually you'll be stitching about 6 times, or ripping about 6 times for each texture, unless it's double, unless you're going double to shrink down later. Why does that not look right? No, I got it. All right. Just making sure. All right. Now we're just going to bring this up. Let it bring the opacity down. And then move it up. Right there. Perfect. You know, this texture is actually, and I'm looking at it in more detail, we can actually see the parts. Normally, you can't. I mean, this is a lot of parts, don't get me wrong, but most of the faces, the big parts are available. And I'm sure all these small parts are just accessories and things you really don't need to texture, but we'll handle that perfectly. Let's go back to the project here. The icon always gets me. I'm just going to move on to the bottom corner. It should be like right there, but we'll get that. All right, got the last one. Let's go back to Photoshop. Go all the way down to the corner and paste it. And then move it over. And we have the whole thing. So now what we can do is we take all the layers and we right click on it. And we're going to go to merge layers near the bottom. And then what I like to do is I like to get the name of this. So we're going to go, excuse me. We're going to minimize this and minimize that. And I'm going to grab the MCR here. Just the name. I just want to get the name because we want to get the right names, right? Keep your Photoshop layers named correctly. And then this was the, what color were we doing here? We were doing the blue. So I'm going to change the name. I put a little underscore at the end of there, and I'm going to put blue. And then I'm going to right click, and I'm going to change the color to blue so I can remember. So now we created the first MCR, the blue channel. Yeah, I think it's channel. So we got the blue. Now let's get the white. So we're going to click white. And we're going to do the whole thing again. Now imagine having, like I said, we're doing it at 100, but doing it at 200, then you have to do like 8 different, screenshots, maybe 10. But regardless, we're only doing 6. So we're going to just start the first one. I'm a little far in that one. That's fine though. It'll have to be perfect because it'll work out itself at the end. We got the first one. Let's turn this off so we don't see that. And bring it down. All right, got the first one there. Move up to the second. I'm holding that right click, moving it down. All right, that's good. Almost there. It's the same process. Usually the 2 first ones are the biggest, and then we do the edges. All right, cool. If I can click on it, right? I don't want to grab the other part here. We don't have to go that far down. I think right about here. Again, you can overlap. It's fine. Yeah, it's really, I took a lot. That's fine. The closer to the corner you get and you paste, it'll get right on the corner there for you, so you don't have to move it too much. All right. All right, perfect. Like I said, it's the first time I've seen one of these vehicles have like a white channel. Usually it's all white. Usually they don't have this gray and white tone type of texture to it. It's interesting. I think it's the first vehicle to have it like that. But then again, this is the first vehicle that actually looks well organized in its texture. All right, got the edge there. Paste it in. And then we get the last corner piece. All right, cool. Now we're gonna merge all these because usually it's 6, like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Merge them. Bring this down. Copy this name. That way you don't have to retype everything. And then change that to white. We'll do gray because I don't think they have white. All right, cool. So we got 2. We got the white and then we got the blue, which is the best of all of them. And I'll show you that again real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. Let me go back to RGB will look like this. Red will look just gray tone, but like that. Then green, then blue. So you can see the difference between red and blue. And so I like blue best, and this is why I took this texture from it. Normally, like I said, I would grab the RGB and get that one, but then you'd have to desaturate it, take away the color, and it's just a pain. So we're just going to grab the originals from there. So we have technically the MCR for the BRDM2. I'm going to scroll way out so you can see it. So this is what we have. We just ripped and stitched the texture, the blue and the white. The blue and the white. And then what we're going to be doing next is we're going to, let me close this out and pull this up again. So we did the MCR, and then we're going to work on the mask. And that'll be a little bit more work because there's more channels to it. I think we have to work with all 3, the red, green, and blue. So we'll be basically taking a screenshot of the original, the multicolored version. Not a screenshot, but we'll do rip and stitch of the multicolored original, then every channel. So there'll be about 5 different rip and stitches that we'll do for the mask map. And this is all to create the template, so that way later on we don't have to go through and do it again later. Instead of it taking many hours, it'll take you 1 hour. You know what I mean? So it's not that bad, but it definitely helps out in the future. You'll see everything when we're done. You'll see how it comes together and how I do my templates.